So I did my top fragrances video for the spring, and although some of the fragrances on there were unisex, they were more feminine leaning. So I wanted to dedicate the video to the fellas and some of the fragrances that I personally have come across that I really enjoy, that I think would shine in the spring. But you gotta come back, or I can't tell you. Come back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video of Smell Good with Jenna. I'm, of course, Jenna. Thank you so much for stopping by. You know what you have to do. Like, follow, comment, and subscribe. And let's get right into it. So this video is dedicated to the fellas. Ladies, you know, you can obviously watch. You might like masculine leaning fragrances. This is for everybody, but I just want to give love to the fellas. You may want to purchase your man, your brother, your father, something. Who knows? But you know, fellas, this is what I think as a woman, what smells good and that you should be wearing this spring. And let me know in the comments if you agree or there's some other things that I should check out. Let me know. But let's get right into it. First up on my list, we have Valentino's Uomo Born in Roma Green Stravaganza. This was love at first sniff. I smelled this and I was like, oh, this is a banger. If you already like the Born in Roma DNA, you're not gonna dislike this one. Me personally, I enjoy it better than the woman's version, but the woman's version is just as good. But this one, I just was more captivating. I have the box because I bought it from my man and he just left the box here. So he just took it and ran with it. But just want to let you know that I'm true to this, not new to this. I'm not just saying this smells good or whatever. I genuinely purchased it and really enjoy it. But like in the name Green Stravaganza, it's everything that you want in regards to a fragrance for the springtime. It's green, it's fresh, but it's not too fresh. It's sweet. Is the projection all that great? I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you. And the reason why I say I don't perfectly know, because I actually wore it. As I mentioned in another video, we went to WrestleMania, big wrestling fans, and it was very, very, very cold. And I don't think it performed well, meaning that it was long lasting. I'm assuming maybe when it gets a little bit warmer out, you'll smell it a little bit better, but I still think it's an amazing scent. It just literally has 3 notes. I wrote it down: bergamot, coffee, and vetiver. And when I say you literally can smell all 3 notes, you smell all 3 notes. It's like I mentioned, it still has that Born in Roma DNA, but just a little bit more greener. So not that expensive. Definitely something you should check out for this time of the year. Next up on my list, we have Armani's Acqua di Gio Parfum. I actually have it here, the box again, something I purchased my man, and he just kind of took it and ran with it. He's good to me, so I had to splurge a little bit on him as well. But for purposes, I understand, I always see on social media and other videos that the popular one is the Profumo one. And for purposes of this video and being able to access the fragrance, the Parfum one smells just like the Profumo one. Those are tongue twisters. I'm not gonna even hold you. Those are tongue twisters, but it smells just like it. I think the Profumo one is a little bit more green than the Parfum one, and probably a little bit more intense than the Parfum one, but you can't go wrong with either one. It's like all Armani fragrances, the projection, the longevity is not the strongest. I'll admit to that. So if you're like, fellas, if you're like me where I overspray, this is something that you're definitely, when you first wear it, you're going to have to spray quite a few sprays and throughout the day retouch. But I think it's perfect for this time of year. It's green, it's aquatic, it's citrusy. I think it's versatile. You can wear it in the office. You can wear it on a nice spring warm day. When the temperature's in the 70s to the 70s, 80s. you can't go wrong. And even with the other version, the Profundo one, that one, it's not bad either. I just find that something is a little sharp and off-putting when it comes to that one, but there's not much of a difference. So honestly, all three, you can't go wrong with this from this time of the year. But my suggestion and my choice would definitely be the Parfum version. So next up on my list, we have a classic. It's been around since the 1700s. I'm lying, but it's definitely been out for a while. I mentioned the first fragrance in my video. I mentioned Valentino's Born in Roma Green Stravaganza Uomo. How I think that fragrance, someone in their 20s and older would gravitate to that. And again, there's no age limit when it comes to fragrances. Someone at you can purchase something that might be perceived as mature in your 20s, and in your 50s you might wear something that's perceived as for your 20s. But that's my interpretation when it comes to that fragrance. With this fragrance though, and the one that I'm talking about is Creed Green Irish Tweed, I find that to be a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more mature. It's been around since what, 1985, if I remember correctly. It's I find that typical that fragrance is someone who is accomplished. You step out, you're accomplished. You step out into your patio and you just overlook your freshly cut grass and just taking everything in. You probably wear a polo, more times than not. That's the type of person I picture wearing this type of fragrance. The name gives right off the bat what it smells like. It is extremely green, but it's zesty, citrusy, but clean. And then it dries down where it's sweet because of the ambergris that's in it, and creamy because of the sandalwood. Perfect, obviously, for this time of year. I always like fragrances that are green for this time of year, because it just literally just reminds you of warmer weather is approaching us, and it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just perfect. So this is definitely a fragrance that I think one would definitely gravitate this time of the year, and that's Creed's Green Irish Tweed. Next up on my list, here's a fragrance from a house that doesn't get talked about too often. I don't know if it's because it's too expensive, but then listen, all niche fragrances are pretty expensive, and then at the end of the day you can find them on a lot of discount websites, so I don't really necessarily find that to be an excuse. I don't know, or maybe a lot of their fragrances come off synthetic, but I enjoy the fragrances. And the one that I think would be perfect for this time of the year for men specifically is Bond No. 9's Bleecker Street. It's marketed as unisex, but I do find the fragrance to be more masculine leaning, just because of the harsh opening with the green notes. It has, I wrote it down, violet leaf, thyme, and I forget the other note. But then it also dries down sweet with the caramel and vanilla. I think there's blueberry in it. I can't remember. I think blueberry might be in the top note. Regardless of the fact, I think it works well for a man. Next up on my list, I love this fragrance, and I'm not gonna even hold you. I think a woman could potentially pull this off. I don't know. I haven't tried it on myself, but I think this fragrance, I think the world of it, and that's YSL's Myself. I actually came across this. My man actually purchased it on his own. I mean, he purchases a lot of fragrances on his own, but what I'm trying to say is I didn't hear about this. He heard about it, and I smelled it, and I was like, man, this smells really, really good. Honestly, I think it's an everyday scent. I think it's something that you can probably wear in different seasons. It's citrusy. I think it has bergamot. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's definitely citrusy in the opening. It has orange blossom, and if you've been watching my videos before this, I've mentioned orange blossom as one of my favorite notes in general. So the fact that it has that I'm all on board with that one. It's just good. The longevity and projections are right, but you get what you pay for when it comes to designer fragrances. Not for nothing, fellas. I leave Y alone. Don't ask me why. Just leave Y alone.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Why I feel at this point is so commercial and quote unquote basic. It's a good scent, but it's just I feel like it's a scent profile that multiple designer houses do. Why myself I think it taps into something different. Is it complex? No, but it's definitely different from the norm, specifically when it comes to YSL. So I would definitely check it out for the springtime. And that's YSL myself. Next up on my list, we have Chanel Homme Allure Sport. You definitely need your soapy, clean fragrances for this time of the year. There's also Dior Homme Sport, but I gravitated to the Chanel Homme Allure Sport just because the Dior one is a little too soapy in my opinion, and that just, if you want to smell like soap, then just shower. But this one, I gravitated to it more just because the dry down is a little bit sweeter, with the vanilla, I believe, in the base and the tonka bean, but it's still airy and fresh and clean for spring. And obviously it's geared for like when you quote unquote like you're working out or you're sweating a lot, that this was the type of fragrance that you can throw on. Is the longevity and the projection the greatest? No, but that's really not the point of this specific fragrance. So I wouldn't rely on this to go on a date or what have you. But in the office, if you have a demanding job where you might sweat often, like, I don't know, UPS or something, you're lifting boxes and what have you, this is the type of fragrance you can throw on and you're gonna smell amazing. And it's perfect for this time of the year, probably perfect throughout the whole year, but specifically in the spring, definitely something I would definitely recommend you guys wearing. And that's Chanel Homme Allure Sport. Lastly on my list, I'm getting ready to butcher this name, so forgive me, but you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna put the video up and picture up. But that's Terre de Hermes Eau de Javel from Hermes. I think that sounded kind of smooth. I'm not gonna lie. I think it sounded smooth, but I think this is another fragrance that performs well in the springtime. It's citrusy, woodsy, it's fresh, spicy. It gives me soapy vibes, so it's similar along the lines of Chanel Homme Allure, as I mentioned, and Dior Homme Sport. But it's giving a little different in the sense of maybe a little bit more sophistication. I don't know if it's because it's from Hermes. I don't know, but I think this is definitely another fragrance that shines in the spring and can work in the summertime. I think that's the theme of a lot of these fragrances that I've mentioned. Citrusy and fresh. They work perfectly for this time of the year. And yeah, you're gonna smell good. The longevity isn't the greatest, but citrusy, soapy type of fragrances don't tend to be all that good when it comes to longevity and projection, but it does smell really good, and I think it'll be perfect for you guys, so definitely check it out. And that is my list, fellas. I said I got you. I don't want to just be strictly for the ladies, for us. We like our men to smell good, our fathers, uncles, friends, cousin, whatever. We like y'all to smell good as well. So that's what I think smells really good on a man. And you want women to be up on you, or whatever you like. Definitely check those out. Let me know in the comments if you agree, or is there anything else that I should check out, like I mentioned before. And always remember, the best compliment one can get is that you smell so good.